Welcome, welcome again to our very special show today. Why I say again, I'll welcome back because probably my beautiful audience they know that I have been on my mission and our podcast traveled a little bit and met persons where we could discuss diversity and especially neurodiversity as well. And now I'm very privileged that I'm after this short. Um, Break. I have a very special guest today with me. I was looking forward to this podcast actually since I don't know 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So hello everyone. To Diversity is the Game Changer, and I'm your host Valeria Yartnes. And today we have the honor of speaking with an extraordinary leader whose career spans the realms of neuroscience and academia. Please welcome Dr. Benoit Antoine Bacon, an accomplished neuropsychologist, researcher, and academic leader who has transformed institutions like Carleton University and the University of British Columbia. Dr. Bacon serves as the president of the University of British Columbia, guiding this institution with a commitment to diversity, inclusion, and innovation. His remarkable career combines groundbreaking research in cognitive neuroscience with transformative leadership in a higher education. And I have titled our podcast, and Mr. Benoit, you can help me actually to choose between, because I love so much how you presented in one of your conversation this what we have here. I hope everybody at least have you call it 3 pounds of matter, right? Here.
3 pounds of matter. Good morning. For me,
Good
it's
morning,
morning.
welcome.
For you, it's afternoon. Nice to see you, Valeria. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much. It's so great privilege, and that's what I want to start, because I always like to give some titles, and because you're so brilliant, man, you are giving so much gems through the conversations. I could make my homework, so that's why I was like, oh, this is the brilliant. My podcast title will be 3 pounds of matter, and then then after you've been like, oh, but academia is the temple of the brain, but not the heart. I said, no, this will be gem. This will be my title. And my beautiful audience, you will be aware soon why we talk about all that, right? And my very, very first questions to you, Dr. Bacon, it's of course, we know that everything what's happening with us now in our age, in your age, which is approximately the same, but we know we all came from our childhood, right? Everything starts there, and our mindset, and you will be able to actually open more picture about that. So I would like to ask about this little guy Benoit, his childhood, his impact of childhood on adulthood, about his dreams, about his inspiration, how he experienced this world, processed this world. Please, the stage yours.
Thank you for that. It's a great place to start. Childhood is a very special stage in human development. The child comes into the world, and for a number of years, certainly until 6 or 7 years of age, all that the child is doing is absorbing the world. It's almost like an hypnotic state. Your senses bring in information, visually, through your sense of touch, through your audition, and you build your mental model of the world based on the environment in which you are. And if your environment is safe and loving and supportive, you build a mental model of yourself as worthy, and a mental model of the world as welcoming, and you're on your way to a beautiful life of exploration, creativity, and success. That wasn't my case. I was born in a dysfunctional family, an unsafe home, and you build a very different model of yourself. My father bless his soul, he was battling his own demons, because almost all unsafe home are the result of multi-generational trauma. And this is not about assigning blame. Whose fault is it? It's just the patterns of behaviors that accumulate over time. He was fighting his own trauma. He was losing that battle. He had to drink to cope. He drank every day, and his behavior was not optimal for a father. He was self-centered. He was narcissistic, which is a form of defense mechanism to cope with his own trauma. He was tyrannical. He was rageful and was abusive. And to live in a closed space like a one-family home with someone like that is very destabilizing, because you're in a state of fear all the time. You never know what will befall you every single day. All that you don't know is the reason why things will go wrong, but you know it will go wrong at any given time. And human beings are set with very powerful patterns to survive in situations like this. Psychologists call this the fight-flight response. This comes from our evolutionary past. If a threat arises, you have surge of very specific hormones that gives you great energy to either escape the situation, flight, or resist the situation, fight. But in situations of childhood danger like this, these two responses don't work. You certainly can't fight a much larger parent, and you also can't escape, because you need your parents to survive. And that's very confusing to the body. These surges of energy are being provided, but you can't do anything with it. The only option left to the child is to freeze, and this is what the rabbit does in some circumstances when the predator is too close. You just freeze and you hope that you won't be seen. That's what happens time and time again, and that freezing response in the long term causes very debilitating effects on your nervous system and on your body. It's well known that abusive childhood take about 20 years off of your life expectancy, and can lead to a variety of chronic illness and chronic pain. I had chronic pain for a long time. It leads to dissociation from your emotions and various mental health conditions that I suffered from. Childhood PTSD is one. Chronic depression. Chronic pain, as I mentioned, as well. And then to cope, you look for a bit of help, and one remarkable pain relief is alcohol and other drugs. And when I finally left the home where I grew up, I was 17 years old, and I thought, finally, I'll be safe, I'll be good, I'll be free, I'll be liberated. But Valeria, that's not what happens, because the patterns that have been established in your childhood, you can't just turn them off. They're still operating within you. So depression and substance use for a long time coming out of that. And I'm happy to speak a little bit more about this. Look, before I conclude on this, I want to say that many more people than we like to think are born and raised in less than optimal homes, dysfunctional homes, abusive homes. We don't like to think about that. We like to think of families as being safe, but that's not always the case. And it's almost always a result of multi-generational trauma. I'm particularly interested in the adverse childhood effects scale, which is a very powerful tool to evaluate whether you're at risk of later life trauma. It simply lists 10 characteristics of the home in which you were raised. And as soon as one of those characteristics is there, the most common one is probably divorce of the parents.
Mhm.
But then emotional violence, certainly physical violence, sexual violence, one of the parents being incarcerated. There's 10 of them. As soon as you have one, your risks of mental health issues or substance use increase. If you have 4 of them, which is my case, or more, it's almost certain that you'll run into significant trouble in later life. So you asked me about my childhood.
Mhm.
That's where I started. But then I do want to say, and I hope we'll get into that, that a less than optimal childhood is not a life sentence. Healing is always possible.
Amazing. Amazing that you already came to actually what will be the most powerful message to our audience at the end, like summarizing. But it's so important to have like a red thread through our conversation, because it can, of course, sounds a little bit dramatical what you have shared, which from one part I immensely appreciate and privileged that I can experience that from the person like you, which per today, of course, is very successful individual, right? And people believe like we came to this world, especially successful individuals. We are born like rock stars and everything just shining around us, but that's not the case. It's not true, and I can relate to myself very much. That's why I really wanted to make our conversation happen, because I've been through all this adversity myself, and like you mentioned already, you're just one of 10. Probably I had 4 or 5 as well. And in addition, like, you know, I made in Soviet, and then you are surrounded by the same stories everywhere, and it's like it's like just complaining and being weak. You cannot complain and we were like taught that this is the past. We are not using energy and time for your past. It's not worth it, right? Why should you like use energy? What has been done or what has happened to you, it has already happened. You cannot change it. And you have to be brave, resilient, and strong from now, and just forget it. And I've tried, like probably you, just dissociate, just escape from all my past. And I went into the academia, all this all these ways not to be actually able or capable to talk and to be in silence with my head, because then like you said, it's not escape, right? Everywhere you go in this world, you take yourself with your you take you with yourself,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
age, not age, it's actually more, because these patterns which we made in our childhood, if you don't change them, right, they will be like train railways, which is not sustained anymore. So I know exactly what you mean. But
I've heard this notion, Valeria. That's an important one. That it's just the past.
Yeah.
It's not important. Just forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But the past is inside you.
Yes.
The past is in your nervous system. The past is in your body. Trauma is not what happens to you. It's what it does to your nervous system and to your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you repress it, if you deny it, it will control you from inside. You think you're making life decisions because you want these things to happen, but you're actually making life decisions in a way to cope with trauma. You say you studied as a coping mechanism, as a pattern of behavior specifically designed not to think about the trauma of your past. I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm glad I studied. I'm sure you're glad you studied. But it's a behavior that comes from fear and that comes from escape. And in that way, it's not that different from substance use or from addictive internet use or from long distance running, which I did for a long time. There's a lot of former trauma survivors and substance use survivors in the long distance running community, because it's a good coping mechanism. And what you realize when you heal is that it's not what you do that matters.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is the intention behind it. You can do things out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come from trauma, everything you do is out of fear.
Yeah.
Or you can find a way to reprogram your nervous system, to release all that fear from your body. And we can talk about how to do that.
Yeah.
And then in that new space can emerge a completely different intention, more compassionate, more loving, including self-loving, from where behaviors can feel completely differently. To run a marathon from fear and to run a marathon from love, to do a PhD from fear or to do a PhD from love, to be in a relationship from fear or to be in a relationship from love. These are very, very different experiences.
Exactly, and it's amazing how I'm discovering just right now. Probably I've started last 2 years, and many things which happened. Now I can see, like, even the war broke out, and I'm from Kherson in my language, and I have my parents refugees, and I have adopted 2 kids from Ukraine with special needs. Like, I could again escape with all those matters in my life, but when everything just, like, really was on top of each other, and then I understood that all these escapes to help others, to put mask in the in the plane on others, but not myself, it doesn't work anymore, because I don't have any more the sources where I should take my energy from, right? And like they say now, you cannot be hotspot if you don't have signal. You cannot spread Wi-Fi. And then I knew, okay, it's actually, like you said, it's not what I'm doing, why, intention behind, because I needed to escape all the time, to be busy all the time, not to be with myself, with my thoughts, because I understand I'm not good with myself. I'm not in the peace with myself, and I need to turn around and face myself. And it's so scary, right? But when you decide to do that, the process is very painful, very scary. But then the liberation, then the freedom is coming, right? So I would like you to share with us. We started from your childhood, and you already have mentioned that we kind of choose the same cope mechanism. We choose, like, maybe not, like, I don't know, drugs or a lot of different alcohol, also escape ways, but study, right? To keep our brain busy. It was also your part, but at the some point you understood also, but it doesn't help anymore, right? I'm still suffering. Even if I choose just the path of my thoughts, and we all believe that we control our thoughts, but we are not actually, right? So when it was this actually moment in your life that you choose study, but then you acknowledge, like, something's still not okay. I'm still suffering. I'm still depressed. I believe it should have helped me. Now I'm not at my home. I'm by myself. I'm studying, probably a successful student, but still something is wrong, and I have to change something. How this process actually? What was the change in moment? Probably, yeah, change in. It doesn't happen just one day. We know it's not like, oh, you wake up like, oh my God, that's for sure. It's the process, right? But how it was happen in your lifetime?
It's a journey. It's not an event. It happens over a long period of time, and the period in which you have to rely on coping mechanism is part of that, Valeria. You can't go straight out of trauma and into a beautiful life. You have to accept that this will take time, and it will have an arc of healing. I used to be ashamed of my younger self, who drank or who used substances or who refused to face the trauma. Now I'm proud of that younger self who did what he had to do to survive, and to keep going. So if people are listening that are currently depending on coping mechanism, you have to meet yourself where you are. That's okay. You're doing what you have to do to survive. For me, it was substances. For me, it was school. Certainly, it's exactly how you describe. You don't want to live fully embodied because there's too much awfulness, so you hide in your mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The mind is a wonderful hiding place because you can always distract yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
You can study, or you can numb yourself with substances, or you can entertain yourself with the internet or television. You can reward yourself with material goods. You can always keep it going. Now I know that one of the surest signs of a good mental health is, can you just sit and do nothing for, say, a half an hour or an hour? If you can't do that, that's because you're escaping some trauma that happened to you in the past, and it might be time to start considering seriously what that trauma could be, and how you could release it from your body. So for me, the first catalyst for change was when my daughter was born. I have the one daughter, and when she was born about 20 years ago, I remember thinking, I can't go on like this. I need to do better for her. This is a little baby that came into the world, and she deserves a father that will be fully present, and that will take care of her needs, and that will be dependable. And I'm not that today. The worst thing when you come from a difficult family home is you don't want to repeat the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine something scarier than that, to become your parents and to repeat the past? So that was a wake-up call for me. But it doesn't happen by magic. The bad habits or the coping mechanisms are so ingrained, and the trauma is so deep in the body. I remember a period of about 5 years after my daughter was born, where my mantra was just try to be normal.
Okay.
I was lucky. I was able to study throughout my trauma and throughout substance use. I'll always be grateful to higher education. I'm sure you are too.
Exactly.
I'm lucky. I was smart, and I was able to study even if I was not in a good state. And I got a PhD, and I was able to get a teaching job at a beautiful liberal arts college in Canada. It was a small, quiet place, beautiful place. And I would just try to be normal. I would just get up in the morning, try to teach my courses. I realized I was quite good at teaching psychology. That was validating to me. Eat some vegetables. I hadn't eaten vegetables for a long time, so I tried to eat vegetables. Tried to drink less. You spend time with your beautiful baby, and you just try to be normal. And then one day, after about 5 years of this, about one day, I'll never forget it. It was a beautiful summer day on campus at Bishop's University, and the veil of depression just lifted. Suddenly the world looks different. If you're depressed, the world looks narrow, and the colors it's almost black and white. Everything looks washed out. And suddenly I could see the greenness of the grass, and the blueness of the sky, and the warmth of the sun. And suddenly I was there in my body.
Oh, I
You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you mean. Yes.
It's almost like waking up from a dream, and you realize, where am I? What am I doing here? I was still drinking. I was still using substances. But something had shifted inside me that led me to ask more profound questions about what life was about and what was possible for me. But the problem, Valeria, is if you've barely ever seen sane and functioning adults in your childhood, you just don't know how to live, how to think, what to do. So what I started to do from the moment depression lifted is to look around for role models. Role models can be really helpful. If you don't know how to live a rich and beautiful life, look around for somebody who does know, exactly. and try to do what they do. So I was lucky to become friend with some older colleagues. One of the things they did do was to go for a run on their lunch hour.
Okay.
And they took me on a run. It was a 5K run, and it would, like, if you've never ran, running is tougher than you think. So at one point I said, this is much longer than 5 kilometers, and they said, oh no, we're only 2 kilometers in. Just keep going. But at the end of that summer, I'd lost a lot of weight and I felt so much better, and we ran the Montreal Marathon, and that was very validating, and there was a pride in this, and I was on my way to living in a different way, to incorporate exercise in my life, and to gain a different set of habits. And another thing I was able to do is sing in the school choir.
Wow.
And to create beauty. With your voice, you create beauty, and there's 100 people singing, and there's harmonies, and you create beauty all together. And the power of the arts is transformative. Then the last thing I learned from those senior colleagues is they were serving in leadership positions in the school, and they encouraged me to do that.
Okay.
First as chair of my department, the psychology department, and later on as the dean of the faculty. And this is why I find myself today the president of UBC, because for these past 17 years, serving the community as in these roles has been part of my healing process, and part of becoming a different person that moves from a different intention, a more loving intention, an intention of selfless service, and that has discovered that there is great value in contributing to the community in that way.
I love it. I'm sitting, like I already said, with goosebumps, and I'm just thinking it's so inspiring. It's amazing story, and I'm so unimaginably proud of yourself, how you could transform your adversity, your trauma, to creative fuel, to beautiful path. And like you say now, that's why also now everything what you have chosen to do, because of love, because of first of all, you managed to look around, to be open for those role models, and then you also open yourself to trust and to help yourself, and to start loving yourself, not fearing like shame, and right, because it has happened always to me. It just actually, yes, when you're depressed, like you said, black and white colors, I've been there many times, but also it's like in life, it's the process. But basically we are kind of everything what we are doing, or because we are scared and ashamed, or because it's compassion and love, right? And when we start just with small steps, micro changes, shifting this path towards, it's a lot of setbacks, it's a lot of course moments that you want back, because it's easier to distract your brain, right? Because this is a hard job, every single day, hard job. Practice gratitude, practice breathing, practice, like you said, if you can, just even 10 minutes, we can start, even from 2 minutes, if you start just per day, not doing something, but being, just sitting, not doing, but being with yourself. This is already the great accomplishment, because people really who they have so much fear inside, they cannot just be, they have to do something, right? Because then you have to meet yourself. Oh my God, this is scary stuff, really scary stuff. So I'm so proud of you. So we really I don't know, okay, you're so busy of serving as the president of one of the greatest academical institution in the world, but you should be standing, I don't know, somewhere like on pedestal, just sharing your story all the time, every single day, because wow, can you imagine how all this evolved, and what, And I'm sure every single day now you are inspired, you're helping so many people because it was you there, not like trend or you just heard, because you have experience well with your skin, with your body, with your health. You know what is depression, right? So it's wow. I'm so impressed. I'm so thankful that we have people like you, and God is merciful that He can send us this, I don't know, lessons. But now we know everything's actually a path to evolve. It's our personal growth, right? But you have to come to that. I came to that when I was 40. It's so it took me so many times, but I'm sure I could also listen in one of your interviews that now you take it as a blessing, everything just with gratitude, right? Oh my God, this is so challenging because people, they can talk about it, but to practice to be grateful for everything is so difficult. That's why like every single morning, right, and every single evening I write, even before talking to you, like, okay, 5 things what I'm grateful for. It can be small things. It doesn't just muffin which I like for the coffee or something, right? Because always it's the perspective. But I would like now to ask also, because you amazing story and now you are the catalyst yourself, because I'm sure that one day you saw around who could be your role models, and now you are the greatest role model yourself for so many people, and especially for students, right? It's this very special also time in our life where we kind of choose our path, what we should really, where our belonging, where our calling in life, right? And I think it's really blessing to have a person in the head of the institution like you, because you have been sharing in one conversation that before in 90s the academia was the temple of the brain, right? But not that much the temple of the heart, because you saw that nobody would actually cared how I really felt, because you were like brilliant student, you did well, and what was there, like professor, they never care. But could you please tell us, I'm sure that you have changed this approach, at least in your university, what actually mission and what kind of strategies you yourself and your team, of course I'm sure it's always team result, but your role model, what are you guys doing on your campus, how you raise awareness about mental health, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. When I was young, the idea that the university was a temple of the mind seemed like the most beautiful thing you could ever imagine.
Iconic.
I thought, what else could matter than our minds, our thinking, logic, reason? And I still think those things are beautiful. That's an incomplete picture of what it means to be a human being. We're not a human thinking or a human doing. We're a human being. And there's a lot of being that's being left out if you're only focused in the mind, because being happens in the body, being happens in the heart. It took me a long time to find that out. We spoke about a phase where I just tried to be normal. We spoke about a phase where I was looking for good role models. I should say that then I went to therapy, Valeria, when I was about 40 years old. If I have one regret, is that I waited too long. I should have gone to therapy when I was 15, but hey, it's never too late. And in therapy, I learned things that I should have known, because I'm a PhD in psychology. I should have been able to find that out for myself. But the mind is very tricky. It doesn't want you to know.
Of course.
Your ego and your trauma are very committed to you not finding out, because they like the way things are. But through with the help of a therapist, I was able to reconnect with my emotions and re-enter my body slowly. I benefited from massage therapy. I benefited from yoga. I started to do weightlifting, and suddenly, instead of being all in your mind, you're back in your body. You're reintegrated into your body, and you have access to your emotions. And once you have access to your emotions, they're allowed to be released. So there's a lot of crying that goes on in that phase.
Oh yes. Mhm.
There's a lot of screaming that goes on in that phase.
Mhm.
I'm sure you've had that experience if you do yoga, for example, if you do a certain pose long enough and well enough, something releases in your body, and then it's accompanied by an emotional release. So that's happened to me a lot. And as all that fear and that anger and that sadness flows out of your body, chronic pain disappears, and you start to feel lighter, and you start to feel different, and in that space is room for something completely different to emerge. So the last thing I want to say about this is that for the past 4 or 5 years, I've entered a completely different phase, which has what people would call spiritual components.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it started very simply. It started with my realization that the thoughts that I'm having, they're not who I am. Does that
Mhm.
make sense to you?
Absolutely. I know it.
We
We are not our
we
thoughts. Yes.
we think we live in our heads, and that whatever happens in our heads is who we are. So our brain, that 3 pounds of matter, is always generating thoughts. Your brain never stops. That's what it does. It generates thoughts all the time, and you
Mhm.
think that these thoughts are you.
Oh.
But if you stop and watch these thoughts the way you watch the world, I see a computer, I see a telephone, I see a can of soda, and I also see my thoughts. It's very surprising, the kinds of things that you think, especially if you come from trauma.
Mhm.
You think things about yourself that will surprise you. So I started to just watch my thoughts. It's a form of meditation. It's a
Yeah.
form of mindfulness.
Mhm.
You just sit, and at first you try to do it for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Can I just be quiet and watch my thoughts for 30 seconds, for 2 minutes, for 5 minutes? And then you watch them float. Uh, and then an interesting question arises. If you can watch the thoughts, who's watching?
Yeah.
In spiritual circles, this is called the witness position.
Mhm.
Uh, if you're watching the thoughts, if you're the witness of the thoughts, then you're not the thoughts.
No, the thoughts. No.
And another way to think about it is, you thought the thoughts are floating in your vision like clouds, and you thought you were the clouds, but you're not the clouds. You're the sky. You're the
Mhm.
sky,
Mhm.
and the thoughts are just floating, and you can just let them float by without engaging with them so personally and so powerfully. Um, if there's no distance between the witness and the thoughts, you think you're the thoughts, and you're possessed by them. Thinking you're your thoughts is a form of demonic possession. That means your trauma rules you. If you build distance between yourself and your thoughts, they're still there. You can still see them, but they're nowhere as threatening and nowhere as controlling. And in that space that opens up between yourself and your thoughts, new thoughts can arise
Mhm.
that are much less fearful, much less angry, much less sad, and much more compassionate, and much more loving, and much more self-loving. So that's been transformative, to
Mhm.
be able to do that. And now I meditate every day for long periods of time. I look forward to it. It's changed my whole way of thinking about myself, thinking about the world, and it's opened up a space. And I'm getting to your question, a space to live life from the heart.
Mhm.
And now I realize what I'm doing as a university president is incomplete. We certainly must provide our students with a great education, with reason, with logic, with critical thinking. That's all true. But it's also a responsibility as a university to help our students on their personal journey towards being a complete, a whole human being.
Mhm.
A free human being and a fulfilled human being. So how do you do that?
How do you
Uh,
do?
Well, first and foremost, you must acknowledge that this is an important objective, that this is an important goal. So you need to change the discourse within the institution from one of professional success to one of holistic success. That includes your health, that includes your well-being, that includes the notion of serving your community, that includes notions of self-love too, along with the reason and logic and professional success. So we need to rebalance university, which are currently all in the head, to being a balance of the head and the heart. So that will require changes in how we speak about ourselves, changes about the kinds of material that we teach, the way that we teach, and the way that we offer services on campus. And it will be a long, long journey, but that's okay. Universities have been here for 1,000 years. If it takes 20 years, 30 years to bring the university back to balance, that's fine. And I have to say, Valeria, that this is not a new idea. When universities started, all the way back to ancient Greece, they served the entire person.
Exactly.
Including athletics, including the arts, including nutrition and well-being, the entire person. And we've lost that. In the past 200 years, maybe, and we need to recapture it. I think our success as institution and our success as a society depends on it. Think about it. If all university students came out of universities not only able to think and be professionally successful, but also balanced and healthy and loving and ready to serve, the world would be transformed.
Exactly. I think it could be a breakthrough, because especially now, they say we have experienced pandemic. It was like 3 years, but many people say that the real pandemic of our century is a stress. It's stress level. And then, you know more than me, right? It's about hormone. It's about cortisol. It's this freezing, fight or flight. And even people, if they will be sitting on a little bit more knowledge, even how our brain, like you said, 3 pounds of matter function, even that could give them more tools to understand, to cope with, that they really can be in charge, like you said, and me, that not of controlling your thoughts, because you can't do that. Brain sometimes dancing on dance, because it just signal switch, which is bomb attacking your actually all 5 senses, right? It can be like you are walking one place and you smell something, and brain give you this picture or that picture. You can never actually predict what you can be bombed or attacked your mind, but like you said, but even just to know, to be aware that you are, like you said, observer, or your higher yourself, or your higher mind. You are not your emotions, you are not your impulses, you are not your hormones, you are not your thoughts, right? So like you said also once that hello, are you there?
Back, so it's good that we're not live. We can just keep going.
Yes, I can cut after that. So I don't know, I'm on 4G, not Wi-Fi, to have better, but okay. So we were about this our thoughts, yes, and we know that we can just be observer, and I mean, if we can give the knowledge to your students, and we at least can kind of start a little bit at schools. I believe, like you said, even from half a second, 1 minute, because we also, you and me, should remind people who has never tried that it's actually not that easy from the beginning at all, right? It's like you have to practice. You have really to practice to be observer, because at least for me in the beginning was like, because your mind, like it's tricky. It will always want to jump you back in the past, or your mind want to jump you in the future. Your mind doesn't want to be here and now, because yes, it's also the tricky part of that. But when you start practicing it, that's why it's called practice, right? Every day, like you said, now also I meditate every day. I love it. It's like really this blessing space where I can really be here and now, and I can really, like, it's like freedom, liberation. So but okay, it's not about me, it's about you again. So we are back.
You said it beautifully, Valeria. Is the modern world in particular is so rich in stimulation. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
And the brain can't resist responding, being reactive. Something happens, the brain wants to react, the brain wants to engage. So you're always controlled by external stimulation. You're always reactive. Somebody says something, you react.
Yeah.
And that state of reactivity is the opposite of being present.
Yes, exactly. Then you can actually pause, right?
So part of the practice is to develop this ability to pause,
yes.
to let whatever happen, whether it's a stimulus in the outside world or a thought. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. A thought and a stimulus from the outside world is the same thing. It's two things that impinge on your consciousness. And you can either be reactive. Nope, not sure, but I'm to the stimulus. In which case you're not really there. You're just an automatic stimulus response mechanism. But with practice, you can learn not to be reactive, to just watch, to just observe, to just witness, and take time. And then rather than react, respond from a deeper place within yourself. And that allows you to choose your intention more consciously. If you're reacting, it's almost certainly by fear. This is happening, I got to do something. Oh, this thought, I got to do that. Whereas if you're able to slow down, pause, and open a space within yourself, and then respond, that allows for the possibility of that response being more thoughtful, more compassionate, more loving.
Yeah, amazing. Exactly. I think we have just 9 minutes left, because I promised you not more than 1 hour, and I have 3 things to accomplish with you. We last 3 minutes we discussed, because actually it's diversity is the game changer, but it was so lovely talking to you. I could sit many hours and just talk, because I feel we kind of at the same already, like maybe spiral dynamic, like the same spiritual path level, kind of. Maybe you're already, of course, more advanced than me, but I'm a little bit there already, so we could, of course, chat about that much more. But because of diversity and neurodiversity, because I'm displaying neurodivergence myself, I have OCD. That's actually I had to learn about thoughts and meta thoughts, which is at this space. It's thoughts about thoughts, how you can approach them, right? It's meta, it's Latin word. Meta thoughts, it's actually thought about thoughts. So I had to learn this many years ago when they discovered I had OCD. And then you're bumped of intrusive thoughts. Then if you start just relate them with yourself with them, then it's finished, because you have no idea what kind of Spielberg thoughts and horror thoughts you can be bumped. It's like, really, that's why I didn't know that it was intrusive thoughts, and I was so suicidal and depressed, because I believe I became that awful person in this world, because I associate myself, I attach with those thoughts, and I decided, okay, if I am what I'm seeing now, it's better I'm dead, because I saw that I'm damaging people hardly. And I was working in orphanage with kids. Can you imagine this combination? So, but my question is now about neurodiversity. It's still like stigma and prejudice and everything. What are your thoughts about that? How we can also to change narrative and to create more safe, inclusive spaces where can people also come like you and me and feel safe to share the story. Like me now, I'm sitting and say, yes, I have OCD, and actually my podcast, the idea of it came. I was in mental institution in September. Yes, that's me. Look at me, but I love myself now. I'm trying to embrace everything what I have in myself. How we can. And because you know you have impact on like so many people around you, right? So you can use this platform which you already beautiful using, but about people with me, like with, okay, they call it disorders, but I call it different orders, different wirings in brain, right? So how we can, what can we do to create these more inclusive spaces? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for that. And at least part of the challenge that we're facing is one of stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're talking about substance use or mental health conditions like depression or anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
or neurodiversity, there's always a reflex from a proportion of society to say, "Oh, that's not good. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to hear about that. Just go get help, and come
Yeah.
back when you're okay." So when you speak about diversity, to me, that's what it means. It means that we're all different and we all face different challenges in various ways and at different times of our lives. And inclusion means, can we find a way to bring everyone under the umbrella of our shared humanity? That's what inclusion means.
Mm-hmm.
We're all different by definition. We have different genetics, we have different childhoods, we have different life experiences, and our individual experiences are all equally valid. And we need a way to all work with another and with one another, and all support one another. Ram Dass always says, "We're all walking each other home."
Mm-hmm.
So my experience has been mostly with substance use,
Mm-hmm.
which sometimes people call substance abuse or substance abuse disorders. To me, it's just substance use. It's something that you do to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's nothing shameful about that. Some people have started to call it substance use health. Which I think makes a lot of sense from the perspective of the user. The substance is not a problem; it's an attempted solution to the problem of life. And how can we work to include the people who need substances to survive in the present day,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and also help them so that in future they may not need as much, or they may not need substances at all. I'm 11 years sober. I couldn't be more grateful about that. But I'm also proud of who I used to be, using substances to keep going, as opposed to, you mentioned suicide, as opposed to going in that direction. It's the same thing with depression or burnout in the workplace. When I was younger, no one would speak about depression or work or burnout. Now it's starting to be accepted. It's starting to be part of the vocabulary. How can we be more accepting of people who are facing difficulties in the present day? How can we include them in our common humanity and find a way to help them? To me, it's the exact same with neurodiversity, which regroups more and more people. And in our world, in the university world, there's lots of neurodiversity. If you go into a math or a physics department,
Oh yeah.
there's lots of neurodiversity, and powerful neurodiversity.
Yeah.
Useful, valuable neurodiversity. Our students are showing neurodiverse behaviors or thought patterns in large numbers as well in our classrooms. So how can we include those people under our common humanity, and also, and this is the belonging part, transform ourselves so as to benefit from what neurodiverse people bring into our institutions? Are there things that we need to change about what a classroom is, what an examination is, what the university degree is, to make sure that we benefit from what neurodiverse individuals bring into the university? So this is a little bit like you were saying at the very onset about the university. It needs to be a welcoming space where the head and the heart,
Mm-hmm.
in all their various compositions,
Mm-hmm.
can be welcome and can belong.
Yeah, amazing. This is the very powerful statement, and I think usually we play. Okay, we can have 1 minute, but maybe it was actually your wish now that University Academia can be this beautiful space where we can have this alignment, holistic approach. Because I play always with people, and this is the genie lamp, from Aladdin, but because I have so many people, I would like to help as many people as possible. So this beauty has no place for two wishes, but for one. So maybe I would like, first of all, to thank you so much. It was a great conversation. It was really privileged to have you here opening your story, amazing, inspireful role model and story. I wish you all best. I'm so proud of you. I'm really blessed to have you, just to meet you on my path. And what would be your last, wish, maybe for our audience, maybe for yourself, maybe I'm sorry, it can be just one, but I'm sure, if we actually inspire just one person, then we save the whole humanity. So one wish is enough.
Thank you for that. And my wish is this. Let me touch the lamp. My wish is.
Yeah, I'm like this.
My wish is.
Yes.
My wish is that everyone, Valeria, finds the path to healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell everyone that you're not alone. If you're suffering, you're not alone. A lot of people suffer in this world. And reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It means that you're getting stronger if you're reaching out for help. And healing is always possible, and it's not an event, it's a journey. So just take a first step. Just take a first step. There is already inside you everything that you need. You just need to peel off the layers that have been imposed by trauma, by family, by schooling, by society. And you'll find within yourself beautiful compassion and love, which is all you need to transform the world. So that's my wish, that everyone finds that.
Yes, thank you so much. And of course, we wish you much compassion and love, and as much as possible you can spread through your merciful mission now. And again, wow, what a story. So please, everybody, compassion and love, and just take the first step. It's really never late to get healing. It's strengthful to say yes. It's okay to be not okay. It's completely okay. Look at us, and you can be okay. And together, united, we are stronger. So you can always reach out to me. You see, I just take contact. I'm so blessed. You can always reach out to Benoit. And life is beautiful, but it is a journey. It's true. And sometimes you have to have this journey with yourself. It's the first step you should take. So thank you so much for being with us. Until next time. And thank you to you. Bless.
My great pleasure. Thank you so much, Valeria. Thank you for your important work. Keep going.
Thank you so much, Benoit. Thank you.